he wants.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Hang it in there?
My wife likes it better on. So look at it,
I like it better.
Did you see ours though?
Let's see it.
I emailed Fran to make it short and sweet.
Good.
Thank you.
So many papers there.
So you can't blame me this time.
Yeah. It's just so nice to
I'm
see
assuming your team
people,
on
you know what I mean?
NCK, yeah?
I mean, Zoom meetings
Oh,
are
I
fine,
like this a lot better
and
than
things like
the
that,
ones you gave us.
but we need to, and I like these things, saying social distancing, physical distancing, right?
Yeah.
Because that lends itself to like,
Paralegal
not being
work on that.
social, but you could still be social and physically be apart. Yeah. I'm sort of like carrying myself,
Something wrong.
but that, yeah, I mean,
But.
that's a personal preference.
On the, one of the warrant registers, we have a check that went out to Youngblood Paving in the amount of $41,000. Yeah, you think? Okay, thank you.
We're waiting on our live stream to come on. So, that's important, that's crucial.
Yeah. You guys will, as the public comments, raise your hand, speak or say whatever.
That's the third on the agenda. Gotcha, thank you.
Gordon will ask for any further comment.
Oh, we're very informal here. Very informal.
Good, 'cause we don't know how to be formal.
Yeah, okay, it's a facade, we have to be careful because when we're live streamed, we have to be careful.
We're up.
Yeah, okay, great,
Let's do it.
okay.
All right, we're gonna call this August 25th, 2020 meeting of Lawrence County Commissioners to order. Would all please rise for the pledge of allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Scott Paul, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And all please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Michelle Vogel,
Here,
Commissioner Vogel,
Here.
Commissioner Boyd,
Here. That took me a second. That wasn't Vanessa speaking. You guys a little baby switch.
and I didn't even notice.
No, I know, right? We have a quorum. The only thing I'll note with explanation of procedures, first of all, I think this is one of the larger meetings that we had. So, you know,
Thrilled.
thank you to everyone for coming, especially those that didn't have to. But we are being live streamed both, it's going out through YouTube on our YouTube channel for public consumption, and we're being recorded internally for use in our minutes, our use of recording the minutes. We'll go on to row officer reports and comments. I'm looking around, I'm not seeing any row officers. Every once in a while I'll miss one. Public comments. Anyone from the public wish to address the board? Mr. Bailey.
If you don't mind, I want to say a few things, and Pastor Rain is going to say a couple things too.
Sounds like a plan.
Very brief.
Absolutely.
Very brief. First of all, we thank you for allowing us to come here. And hopefully everybody's doing well, their families are doing well. Dan, I don't know if you remember me, but we worked at First Energy together many years ago. Of course, Pastor Crum did too, so
That's right.
it's not that we're, having a conspiracy here.
Oh, I'm beginning to wonder, Dan. I don't know here.
When you're old like me, you get to know a lot of people.
We kind of all fit in that category except for him. He was
Right.
I did not, I'm like the only one in the building that didn't work for First Energy at some point.
You're just not old enough yet.
No.
But anyhow, we wanted to present you with copies of a book called Hope is Dope. And if you didn't know, our ministry, Vision Ministries, has been involved quite a few years with trying to serve the public that struggles with substance use disorder, addiction, and alcoholism. But hidden underneath, I have some notes here to keep me on track because I am old again. Hidden underneath this COVID pandemic is another pandemic that has really ravaged us in Lawrence County and Newcastle for years, and that's the opioid pandemic. We've lost a lot of lives over the years. I know because I've attended a lot of funerals, and it's one of the roughest things to do. But COVID has made it worse in a sense. People are losing jobs, they're losing income, they're losing family members. They are losing social connection. Okay, one of the things you probably heard about the 12-step process that Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, they all espouse. Well, that's based on social connection. That's based on being together. That suffers right now. So they're doing a lot of things through Zoom, a lot of things, virtually. But the biggest thing is when people lose hope. When they lose hope, any vision, positive vision for their future, is basically gone. There's a lot of mental illness that gets wrapped up into being socially isolated. There are people that, when they get into substance use disorders, often the root of that is things like PTSD, okay, things like depression, anxiety, trauma. And so these things all become exacerbated when you're socially isolated. But just to, again, set the precedent for this book a little bit, drug and alcohol use increases when people lose hope. Over the past 2 months, overdose deaths have spiked upwards in our area. That we know of, there's been about the last 2.5 months, 12 overdose deaths. That's a little bit of a spike upwards. Lawrence County Drug and Alcohol, who we work very closely with, will tell us that. As far as the country is concerned, they had a good year in 2017 as far as the overdose deaths. They were starting to level off and drop. 2019 came up and there were 72,000. They're expecting that this year is going to be 80 or even over 80,000. But hope prevails. Okay, there's always the bright side of it, and there is a way out of the scourge. There is. There's a call for us, the Hope is Dope program, and what I want to do is present each of you with the Hope is Dope book. It's not long. You could probably read it in an hour. It'll probably take us a little bit of time to do
Thank
that.
you so much.
But I brought you one too if we realize that we're.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You have to reach farther than me, okay?
That's all right.
With Hope is Dope program is a cornerstone. And what we're trying to do is to bring it back. Last year, Loretta came to, we had 2 sessions. There were 3 sessions at the Confluence, and they're 1-hour sessions, 4 of them on a Monday night, consecutive Monday nights, and then we did it again in October on Wednesday nights. And what it does is this provides with the best explanation I've ever seen of addiction. And the common ground for this is an understanding of addiction as a disease. I taught it myself, but Steve Troy, I don't know if anybody remembers Steve. Steve was a writer in Newcastle News years ago.
Really?
Then he was a sports writer for the Steelers.
Yes.
So about 15 or 16 years ago, he got into, his wife was a licensed professional counselor. Now so is Steve. So when you see, and there's even YouTube things, but when you read that book, it really helps you understand, break down the complicated neuroscience of the brain in very easily understood analogies. So the common ground for us is we want to build a recovery community, but where it starts is an understanding of the disease that we're battling. If we don't understand that, then we come up with solutions that don't address the problem. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Hope is Dope. I'm going to turn it over to Randy. He's going to talk about what our plans are as far as building a recovery community and why we need you to be aware and hopefully your support. So thank you. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
And thank you.
for having us.
Thank you. Short.
Morning, commissioners. Of course, Dan. I'm glad to see that we didn't take a lead when we've done the Pledge of Allegiance, because that's important to me, what this country was founded on. And so I'm here today just to support what Dan had talked about, and to tell you a little bit about what we're doing. I'm president of Vision Ministries. I've been there 25 years. Vision Ministries has been a ministry. We have a 3-quarter house for women. We have what is called Pathway to Freedom. We do every year, we do a Braveheart that brings about 300 people And I get 5 speakers that have been over 3 years clean. That's part of the project. So, and they tell their story of how they come through the darkness and into the light. I'm gonna be positive here, all right? We need positive. We need, not negative all the time, we need positive. And I believe that by seeing people that tell us, hey, if it wasn't for Eunice, we'd be dead. If it wasn't for Eunice, that my baby wouldn't be born, that is a positive to me, all right? So I'm not looking at negatives. We've got to look at a positive issue. We're facing all kinds of things, and Dan is right, certainly right. The thing that we're facing right now with COVID and everything is bringing depression, suicidal thoughts. You know, where's the end of this? I'm here on the spiritual side of it also, because I know a big part of a person's life has to have hope. And I know that the Spirit of God is what brings people hope and gives them a future. We want to give people a future. I have grandchildren. I fight this battle today for my grandchildren tomorrow, because I want to provide for them the best in their minds and their hearts, that they can go forward and not live in darkness. The evil wants to paint a dark picture. I think we need to come out of that darkness, and we need to understand what we're battling. This hope is good. Book is good. What Vision Ministries has been doing is we've had 2 sessions at the Confluence. We've had 38 people finish those series, and there was more people attended, but all 38, 4 sessions. With that, they got a free membership to the YMCA, which is an endorphin builder. If you read the book, the endorphin builder, that helps them to realize, hey, man, I can exercise, man, I can laugh again, I can do these things. We're not beat only if we think we're beat. If we think we're going forward, then that's what we install in other people. We are presently talking with Judge Motto. We're closer with Judge Motto and Mark Zingaro and all those. We're actually going to get the Hope is Dope program in for an hour into the drug court. Before COVID started, we had it scheduled. We were going to pack the place out. We want you to come, because we are going to have another one. It's just how we're going to do that. We're going to do it outside. We're going to do it inside. We're going to separate, social distancing. Listen, I've attended funerals. I've done funerals of people that have passed away because of addictions. And, opioids is not the only addiction that you have. We have a lot of other addictions, so we help with those. But we know that it is rampant, but there is hope. And we're trying to get some grants. So if you know any place where we get some grants, we've been in all the schools in Lawrence County. We brought Steer Straight into every school in Lawrence County, all right? All the schools. We brought their kids in to have assemblies to be able to hear truth. Okay, these kids need to hear truth. They don't need to hear lies. They need to be upfront and truth. What can happen to them? We brought it into every school. Sometimes we financed it ourselves. We went out and got donations to do it. We got a small grant to do it. We've done it. We want to do it again, and we want to reach the grandparents, the parents, and because it's not only the people that are going through addiction, the ones that are in addiction. They drag everybody else into it with them, so they go through the same deals. Juan Creasy was going to be here today, but he's not feeling well. He must have a stomach virus and whatever, but he would have been here today, but he lost a son, almost lost a daughter, and she run her 3-quarter house for about 3 years. She now has moved out, and we have somebody else in our 3-quarter house. So being on this side of being where I'm at, I did police work at one time, and I'll make this short. I did police work at one time. I was a police officer. When I went out and I did law enforcement, I looked at, hey, they did drugs, arrest them, go convict them, all right? I understood it was a choice, okay? Well, we've got to understand there are choices out there that we make, and those choices depend on, our choices depend on where we're at. So there are choices out there, so people can be a choice at first. If you're in a hospital and you get it in the hospital because the doctor gave it to you, you may be addicted now to OxyContins because you were given it by doctor, okay? And your body's more susceptible to that. But I understand a little bit better because I didn't know what was going on in the chemistry in the brain. So what happened is I believe that it was a choice. And naturally for our young people, at that point it is a choice. But then it becomes, hey, I'm going to try it once, I'm going to try it twice, I'm going to feel good, I'm depressed. All of a sudden, your endorphins in your brain, and I'm not going any further, but the endorphins in the brain start shutting off because it recognizes the opiate as a false endorphin. So now your brain is locked up. So it becomes a disease. Do we understand? It becomes a disease at that point. But I also believe this, at a point when you're free of it, at a program, when you get through a program that brings you to a place where you're free and you can say, I don't need this drug, now it becomes a choice again, doesn't it? Because I can refuse candy bars or I can take a candy bar, can't I? So I'm just telling you that there is hope for our people in Lawrence County. There is hope, and that's what Vision Ministries of Lawrence County wants to do. We want to work together because I'm not willing to be separate from people. I am willing to work, we are willing to work together with any entity, whether it be Josh Lamacusa, which we know very well, Judge Mardo, the commissioners. I don't care what it takes. I'm not an enemy. I'm here to join forces. And we say together, I mean together. We can do this together. So I thank you very much. This is the programs we're going to try to bring forward. And we want to continue to keep on doing these things on a periodic basis all the time, because the more you do it and the more consistent you are with it, the better it will work. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you both for all your work in the community.
Absolutely.
The passion that you guys show
Absolutely.
for battling addiction is evident. Thank you for all you do. And please let us know when you head up to drug.
We'll let you know. We'll let Mark or Judge know.
Yes.
Sounds good.
We're working on it.
Looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you.
in the book too.
Oh, there we go. I'll read it. I will.
I know you will. I thank you.
It's a great program.
All right, anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, move on to fiscal and contractual. We have no advertising for bids and proposals, no receipt of bids and proposals, no fiscal reports, no report on quotes. We do have 3 warrant registers from August 13th, 18th, and 21st. I'll give my colleagues a minute to look those over and then take a motion to accept the warrant register.
Mr. Chairman, I did see one here, maybe Joe can help us with it. It would be on the register dated August 18, bottom of page 2. I'll probably butcher the pronunciation. Zizcorp Systems, Inc. Any idea what that might be?
That's an IT function of, obviously, with the emails.
Okay,
There's a Zix password that everybody in the courthouse would presumably have it. So
okay, thank you very much.
It's not one of yours. Undercover. Okay, just check.
How many zeros are behind it? That's how you can tell.
That was my first.
Usually it's Jeff.
That was anything larger than 25 grand.
I'm innocent on that one.
Oh.
Big checks to the school district. From our, tax sale.
Tax sale. Mhm.
I'll move for acceptance of the warrant registers as submitted.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign, motion carries. Up next, we have approval of the Tuesday, August 11th meeting minutes. Again, I'll give my colleagues a minute to look over the minutes and take a motion to approve. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Absolutely. I'll move that the minutes be approved.
Second.
Hearing a motion is second, is there any discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign, motion carries. We have 3 written correspondence, one from Frank B. Taylor Engineering, which states that, dear Commissioners, as a consulting engineer for Washington Township, we wish to inform you of the township's intent to submit an application to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to obtain a general permit for the following project. Project is the Lake Road Bridge Replacement. It's the bridge replacement of Washington Township on, of all places, Lake Road. That's one. Number 2 is from GAI Consultants on behalf of American Transmission Systems, which is the first energy company submitting a notification to Lawrence County that the general permit for the 911 industrial tap project is being submitted to the Northwest Regional Office, Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. A copy of the GP registration form is attached. Project located in the city of Newcastle. Project involves the construction of approximately 725 feet of new 138 kilovolt transmission line and 6 new structures. Approximately 650 feet of temporary access road will be used during construction. Construction activities will take place within existing and maintained transmission line right of way. I notice it says 911 industrial tap
Yes.
project. Jeff, does that have anything to do with?
No, that's why I went back and looked at the heading of it
Okay.
and see if it's, I,
Okay.
nothing,
Okay,
I don't know.
okay, just curious.
Yeah.
And the last one is from Flowline, which is notifying the board that Flowline is applying to Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection Bureau of Air Quality Control to renew existing state operating permit at Flowline's facility in Shenango Township. Notice is provided in accordance with Section 1905A of the Pennsylvania Administrative Code as amended by Act 14 in 1984. For all of these different correspondence, various companies, agencies, governments are required to submit to us notification that they're applying for certain permits. The commissioners don't have approval authority over those permit processes. They're just required to notify us and we can submit comment if we so choose. But ultimately the decision to approve those permits rests with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, at least in this case. With that being said, I'll take a motion to accept the correspondence.
So moved.
Second with a question. We've been having, over the last few weeks, a lot of internal discussion about liquid fuels.
Oh,
And Joe, I'm wondering if your schedule permits, if you might reach out to Mr. Brian Rogers regarding the Lake Road Bridge in Washington Township. I seem to recall, and I may be wrong, that bridge may not be big enough for the one fund, but I may be wrong about that.
I'll reach out to him.
Okay, because I don't know if perhaps this bridge might qualify for some of the funds from that one specific bridge fund. But I don't know that. Maybe Brian Rogers can answer that question if you don't mind. Because if we can help them, I'd love to. But I'm familiar with the bridge and it's not a very big bridge. So maybe it doesn't, maybe it's not long enough. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely, worth checking into. We do have a motion.
Yeah, I moved.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. No, you're good. Any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign, motion carries. No proclamations or certificates today. Staff reports above and beyond what's already on the agenda. Is there any member of staff that has anything they want to call the board's attention? Seeing none, we'll move on to commissioner reports and comments. Commissioner Steelvogel, you're on deck first.
And again, talk about the census. I'm gonna look right at you, Amy, because I couldn't remember the site to go to where it gives us
Isn't it
the
census.gov?
updates on where we're at with our, I'll look into that for next week to see where we're at as far as participation. But one thing I did want to say is that they have started with the actual door knocking and going to the doors. So there was something put out to, for our seniors especially, that if somebody comes to the door to make sure that they do have the appropriate identification on them and, to not hesitate if they don't feel comfortable, to not open the door. But also that make everybody aware as much as we can that they are going door to door and that the census has to be filled out and completed by September 30th. This month, pretty much coming up September within a couple of days. So yes, that's my report on the census. Fill it out, get it done, be counted.
Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler, you're on deck.
Thank you. I have no comments this morning.
The only thing I'll note is that moving forward with the business interruption grant recipients, those will be processed on a rolling basis, first come, first served as funding becomes available. And that's pretty much where we're at with that.
Excellent.
Also, a special shout out to the planning department for handling all of that for us and taking all those phone calls so we don't have to.
Oh my God.
I told Amy I'm only referring friendly people.
Everybody has been actually very nice, so. So far.
Good. That's what we like to hear.
Yes.
Try changing your address and see how.
Yeah.
Where were you then?
Alan handles that, so it's still going on.
All right, new resolutions. First on deck, we have Director Parrish with Public Safety. I'm gonna ask everybody that speaks before the board to come up and speak into that microphone. It's not actually gonna let out any noise, it just records back into our recording, so if we miss anything, we're able to incorporate it into the minutes. Jeff, what do we have going on for resolution for discussion possible if we were to enter into a contract with Verizon?
Okay, there's two resolutions. The first one's for Verizon, the second one's with CenturyLink. They're supposed to be the same exact contract. Actually, it's an LOA, letter of agreement. Verizon would only go for 2 years. CenturyLink would go for 3. So we had to have 2 separate LOAs for them. What it's for is all of our phone lines, all of our 911 related phone lines, phone functions at the telephone companies. We get the address, the location, the names. We're constantly, there's lines running everywhere through all the different trunks and the end offices throughout the counties. So we're paying for that ourselves right now through our 911 fund. The state is looking to take over all the call delivery systems in the Commonwealth. So what they want is to be able to research our records using MCP, which is Mission Critical Partners, is actually our consultant that we use. The state has contracted with them to go out to every county in all 67 counties and get all this information from their telco providers. What that means in the end of time is that hopefully by next year, once the Commonwealth and FEMA decides on a vendor to provide all the telco services, it will all go through them. So this money will actually be freed up. We're getting the money now anyhow, and from the 911 funds, from our phone funds, and also from county contributions. But this will also free up the funding that we can put towards salary or other expenses and possibly decrease or some of the county contributions. So we're looking, like I said, for the first one is for Verizon. And it's effective from now. Actually, it's active and not active, but it was August 4th, 2020, and it'll extend to 2022. So by 2022, we'll definitely, we're hoping by 2021, the state has a provider. And we're going to start taking this, so we'll actually save a little bit of money. So
these are both the same thing, they're just different.
there's just a year, yeah, there's just one year different, like I said. CenturyLink goes to 2023 for some reason. But once they pull all the data from us and they start their own call delivery, we're not going to have any of these contracts or any of these accounts with them. They'll be zeroed out. So and just for your knowledge, we're paying almost $43,000 a year in phone line services to them. It's actually down from what it used to be years ago. It was $50,000-$60,000 or more. And actually before that, it was before pre-911 or before cell phones, before we really started acquiring funding from them. We were looking at almost $120,000 a year we were paying in phone services. So it keeps gradually decreasing if the state takes it over. That's great.
Is there any cost associated with these, or is the state absorbing the
The
cost?
state's all doing all this, that they're using that.
Any questions for Director Parrish? All right, we'll make it resolution 2020-226
226.
and 227. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a,
That's the first time in 8 months.
mark that down on the calendar, so,
We'll be back
okay.
next week.
Thank you all. I gotta get going.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Scott Baldwin from MHDS. For resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into agreement with Clover Psychological Association, GSX, Apex Enterprises, Lawrence County Association for Responsible Care, and the Human Services Center. So Scott, what do we have going on here?
Thank you. Yeah, this first is a contract between MHDS and Clover Psychological. This contract would run from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. The contract is not to exceed $20,000 and would be paid via block grant funding. Clover's Psychological does our our psychological testing and evaluation for our forensic populations. This would be treatment court and also a new domestic violence package we're starting this year.
Any questions?
No questions.
The second would be a contract between NHDS and GSK Enterprises. This contract would run from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. The contract is not to exceed $15,000 and is paid by a block grant funding. GSK Enterprises does our IQ testing, our functional assessments, and our behavioral supports for Lawrence County intellectual disability consumers.
Questions on that one? All right.
The third is a renewal contract between MHDS and Lawrence County ARC. This contract would run from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. The contract is not to exceed $136,470 and is paid by a block grant funding. LCRC provides behavioral and occupational supports for Lawrence County IB individuals. This would include their summer camp and also personal care supports for them as well.
Questions? All right, last one.
The final is a renewal contract between NHDS and Human Services Center. This contract would run from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. The contract is not to exceed $4,002,166 and is paid by block grant funding. Human Services Center is Lawrence County's community mental health center and does just an array of mental health treatment from residential services, case management, mobile meds, crisis, and outpatient services for both mental health and intellectual disability individuals.
Just to confirm, these are all paid for out of block grant funding,
Yes.
and we've used all these providers in the past?
Oh, well, the first one, Clover Psychological, is a new contract this year,
Mhm.
but the rest have been contracted them for quite some time.
Okay, we're content with the guys that we're renewing, that we're confident that they're providing the services that we need.
So,
Any additional questions? All right, we'll make those resolutions. This is the objection, resolutions 2020-228 through 2020-231. Thank you, Scott. You're welcome to stick around if you want, if you're gonna take off, we understand that as well.
Chairman,
Yes,
I'd like to ask, if we could move the jail resolution up before planning so that they could get back to, the facility.
All right, well, with the jail, let me pull it out from the packet here.
Thank you.
Andrea, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Here we go. I thought you needed a lot of resolutions today.
Right.
So I'm very thankful that that's up to you.
Yes, I didn't realize we had so many of them there, and I probably do need to get back.
All right, what do we have going? This is, by the way, resolution for discussion of possible approval to extend the MATP program until all allotted monies are expended. So what do we have going on?
Correct. This grant was supposed to run from October 1st of 2019 until September 30th of 2020. However, due to COVID, a lot of the monies were not spent that were available. So PCCD is offering a no-cost extension that the grant will continue to until all monies are expended. So I'm asking permission to file a project modification with PCCD for extending the grant period.
Okay.
The modification won't be submitted until the actual, what we do is the end of this quarter reporting period is September 30th.
Mhm.
So it's due by October 20th. So at that point in time, we'll know exactly how many monies we have left over. So you won't get the modification until probably October,
Mhm.
but I wanted to make sure that you have plenty of time to go over it and see. I believe, I had mentioned before, we're looking at a possibility of $28,000
Mhm.
that would be left, and we don't want to send that back.
No, we will never send any money back to the state. Never.
Depending on how
Absolutely.
much, like, it's hard to give you an estimation now because it varies with
Right,
the medication that comes in with the Suboxone and with the methadone.
Mhm.
So we run kind of have a whole bunch and then
right.
it files through and then it'll be a little while and we'll have some more. So if you'd like me to come back and give you an exact amount,
Mhm.
I can do
You
that.
can just send that, I would say via email or.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll extend, just like the resolution is, it'll, as long as the monies are there, just move it forward, and you have to do the reporting that you have to do regardless, so.
Correct. And then it'll be over to sign, by all three of you and by Joe as well.
Absolutely. Great,
All right, I have.
absolutely.
Yeah, I have
I'm
no
good with
questions.
it.
I'm good, Dan, are you good?
It's a continuation of the program that always,
Yeah, it's a continuation of the program,
Yes.
it's just, whereas instead of normally if the grant was to be done and we still had those monies left over, we would have to send it back.
gotcha.
So, but since they're offering this no cost extension, because normally they would dock you. So
Okay,
going back, if we were to go for another grant that would become available, we would not get as much money.
Mhm.
If you're sending money back,
got it,
you get that
yes,
much money,
Mhm.
good,
so.
All right, sounds good, yeah,
absolutely,
all we're doing is spending down the account.
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, and you're welcome to stick around if you'd like to, if you gotta get back over, we understand this is yes, so don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, keep up the good work, absolutely, thank you, Maria. Gordon.
232, Mr. Chairman.
232.
Yes, okay.
Check that off, we got so many to actually check on.
I know, right?
All right, now for our planning department with 20 different resolutions, which is good, that's a sign that we're doing work.
Yes. And I have to be honest, I know I'm just jumping in the middle of this, but you know, you, while I was on the campaign trail, you had questions about different things. I had questions about departments, what they did and what their functions were. I never realized how much planning goes into so many different things and what that encompasses. I think it's not misleading, but you know, just the fact that there's anything that is going on or happening pretty much has to start with planning for some permit or another, or something written up or another, so.
They're the department of everything that nobody else does.
Right, I have to say that because it's amazing to me that so that's where everything that doesn't go on somewhere else, it's there, it's them. So.
I attend a quarterly meeting in Penn State for our county planning directors, and that's one of the round table discussions we had, is how do you explain to people what planning does? Could you actually sit down and explain to somebody what we do in 5 minutes? And I said, I can't, we do it all.
Yes. You're like Mikey, right?
Yeah, we do.
Give it to Mikey. Yeah, it's like, start with planning and see what they have to say about it. Oh, my goodness. I mean, thank you guys for the.
Oh, damn,
I'll be right back.
forgot the
I
masks.
forgot the mask.
Wear masks,
Yes,
the live stream.
yes.
2 people are watching. A resolution for discussion of possible approval of an agreement with DJ Hannon and Sons. What do we have going on here?
All right, all of these, I'm just gonna say, are from COVID. They were all like due March 31st.
Okay,
So they're.
now you can start up again with everything.
Yeah.
Right, got it.
DJ Hannon.
I remember I remember
Yes,
this.
Yes,
Mhm.
so all work is done basically on everything, it's just that we gotta get this
You don't have
contract.
to pay them.
Yeah, so we're gonna extend these to September 30th.
Yes.
But this is for our sewer project, both DJ Hannon and Watkins are for Shenango Sewer. So,
Okay.
CDBG, yes.
Our CDBG? Orange County?
It's Shenango's
Shenango.
OBO, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a county's contract, but
It's Shenango.
Shenango's,
Right.
right.
And just for our 2 listeners, the county, we get all the CDBG for smaller communities who are large enough that they are entitled to CDBG funding, but small enough that they can't administer it on their own. So we handle, if I miss one, let me know. Elwood, Union, and Shenango. Why doesn't Neshannock get? Because Neshannock,
it's a population of 10,000 or less. So Shenango, Union, and Elwood, their population is under 10,000, I think. So that's why they're a direct entitlement. Neshannock, I'm not sure why
because
Neshannock.
Neshannock's larger than, they're under 10,000, but they're
10,000.
larger than Shenango, Union, and Elwood.
I'm not sure to tell you the truth. Dan, do you know when you were a Neshannock Township supervisor? So Elwood, Union, and Shenango, they're a direct, you know, they're an OBO, they're a direct entitlement, we're the ones who manage their CDBG. But Neshannock Township has always been a non-entitlement.
And I'm not sure why that is.
I can find out for you.
Yeah, because as Mr. Boyd said, they do have, they're less than 10, but they're still higher than the other three.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
So really, the only municipality in the county that doesn't work with Lawrence County on their CDBG is the city of Newcastle.
So, I'm lost. All right, up next, we have resolution discussion possible vote on an agreement with S. Watkins Excavating.
That again, that is the sewer,
Okay.
CDBG, it's phase 2. DJ Hammond's phase 1, Watkins
Okay.
is phase 2, they're our contractor.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Simple
So
enough.
that's two,
And I believe it's a combined year of CDBG, it's like $16, $17.
And then, is ProTech the same?
Well, Protac is, again, CDBG, it's Elwood, but it's a street improvement project. They couldn't start paving until May 1st.
right?
So asphalt plants were placed until May 1st. So same with Youngblood.
Okay,
Border Avenue is again, in Elwood City. So both projects are complete at this time.
Okay, so we'll make those 35 and 36. Resolution for discussion of possible approval to appoint Laura Glenn as an alternate to the Lawrence County Planning Commission Board.
Yeah, the MPC allows us to appoint an alternate to our board. I think we can actually, I'll have to back and look at what it states, but as of right now, we have one person interested, her name is Laura Glenn, she works at Human Service Center, she lives in the city of Newcastle.
No, I have to correct you. That's
Okay.
why I stepped out. When I saw Cameron Avenue, I thought, it's in Union Township. So I went across the hall and that is in
Yeah.
Union Township.
Okay.
So, forgive me
Well,
for
that's good though,
talking
because
out
we
on
don't
you.
have anybody from Union
Oh,
on
that's
that
great.
commission,
Yeah.
so that's great.
So it would be 16101, not
Um,
16105.
Change that on the resolution.
So yeah, we would like to appoint her as an alternate. She'll attend all the meetings, she'll be able to participate in the meetings. But this will come in handy, especially we do run into times where we can't get a quorum, and then we have to
Yes.
cancel our meetings.
If I may, let me ask the mechanics of that. If you have a quorum, which does 5 constitute a quorum?
Yeah.
So if you've got 5 members and she's there, she can't vote.
She can't
She
vote.
can participate, but she cannot vote.
Discussion, she can't vote.
What happens then if you only have 4 people show up and she shows up?
Yeah.
She can then
Yeah.
vote, she can help make the
Yeah,
quorum.
make a quorum.
Gotcha.
How often does it happen that we don't get a quorum?
For PC, it's kind of
It's rare. PC is kind of rare, yes, PC is rare. But it has happened, I think, twice this year. But the issue, with this year is COVID, and so we have
Yes.
some people, you
Yes.
know, where,
Right.
they weren't able, when we even had our Zoom meetings, some of them don't have access to the internet. Like, we have one planning commission member that doesn't have good service in his house, so he wasn't able to participate, which I'm, you know, not many people who are working and they're not able to, make the meeting, so. PC, like Becky said, it's not that often, but, it is nice to have another person, you know, join us.
Absolutely.
Well, it gets her trained up, you know, in a position where says somebody steps
Yes,
down or something's not
exactly.
to your point,
Yeah.
she'll be able to slide right out of that position.
Exactly.
And I know her, and
Yeah.
she is a definitely an asset to human services as well.
She does great work down there.
Yes, she does, yeah,
Yeah, she's very excited, so yeah,
Good.
she's happy, so.
that's great.
I met with her back, I think, in February, and then, you know, they're rolling being here in COVID after.
Yeah, right.
But, so she was very excited, so.
Unless there's any objections, we'll make that resolution 2020-237. It's actually my address.
Before we move on, and since it happened at a public meeting, I guess I can reference it. You may recall that probably the first I think it was the very first meeting we had when this board convened. We did have a gentleman from Wilmington Township give us a letter expressing interest.
I reached out to
You
them.
did circle back
There was
and,
someone else too, that you guys, there were 3 people I had names for, and I reached out to all of them, and, the only person that got back to me was Laura.
There's a guy from the Elwood group too, right?
Yes, I sent an email,
Yes.
I asked them.
Okay, so you didn't hear back from
No, I
those
didn't.
folks?
I
Okay.
wanted back from Laura, and I actually sat down, she came up and we met, and to talk. Just really about, not even just PC, we talked about the planning commission, we also talked about the redevelopment authority and the land bank, since our office runs those as well, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, up next, resolution for discussion and possible approval to enter into an agreement with the attached list of municipalities for the COVID-19 relief fund.
Yeah, so as you guys know, we sent out a letter to each of our 27 municipalities, giving them the allocation amount that, the commissioners have had allocated to them for the Corona Relief Fund, through our CARES Act. We asked them to, pass a resolution and sign the actual recipient agreement and return those. I have a list, I have a packet here, I think it's 9, Morgan, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
12.
12.
Here's the
Yeah, 12.
12, okay.
12. So we have back from Bessemer, Elport, Elwood City, Enon Valley, Hickory, New Beaver Borough, Plain Grove Township, Union Township, Slippery Rock Township, Wampum Borough, Wayne Township, and Wilmington Township. They're signed. So the resolution is basically just commissioners accepting these agreements, and I need you guys to sign off on them. Once you sign off on them, I'm gonna copy, scan, and mail a copy back to the municipalities, letting them know that they're can start sending us their receipts. We will start collecting all that, checking everything, making sure everything's in order, and then we'll hand it over to our auditors, and they will give the final okay on everything, and then we'll start sending reimbursements to the municipalities. So,
What was the deadline that we gave the
we
municipalities
didn't give them a
to
deadline.
turn in this?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
But I'm gonna follow up with them all because one of the reasons
Right.
we didn't give them a deadline because of when their when they meet, their meet, well, when their meetings are scheduled, some of them
Right.
don't meet till the third, or the fourth Thursday of the month, so I'm hoping
Okay.
come beginning of September, because they don't, they have to have everything into us by October 31st.
Yep.
So, I will follow up with, the ones I haven't received yet this week, just a reminder, hey,
You get them in.
sooner you get back into this, the better.
Right, absolutely.
Have any of them gotten back to you and said, no, thank you?
I have not received anything in writing. I have had some municipalities send me an email stating, hey, we don't really know if we can use this, can we do this with it? And I was like, no, you can't do this with it, but I have not received anything in writing.
No flat notes?
No flat notes,
Okay.
but I think when I follow up with them, I will ask them if you do not plan on using this, if you plan on not using this money, send us something in writing, so we have it. And then that money can go back into the pot to help
Right.
our other programs
Sure.
we're doing.
Uh,
Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
I mean, you have to let us know that you want the money.
Well, you have to enter no contract.
Right, yeah, you have to have the agreement, so.
Have any of these municipalities already sent back things that they would qualify to receive this fund?
I do have 2 municipalities that have sent me, payroll and receipts, you know, we have one municipality, they're just, a lot of them are just gonna reimburse their police payroll.
Right.
Then I have another municipality that sent me some receipts for the stuff they bought for PPE.
Right.
So once I get all this executed and stuff, then I'll start doing that and working with our auditors for those 2 municipalities, so.
Very good.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, we'll make the resolution 2020-238. Up next, resolution for discussion and possible approval of appointing the attached list of people in Lawrence County Planning Commission.
We had 3 members on our commission that, were up for reappointment December 31st, 2019, and, we never reappointed them, so Everett Blakeney, Carolee Lawhead, and Dave Hammond.
Simple enough. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to, when we vote on this, amend the language to note that Mr. Blakeney resides in Wayne Township. Mr. Hammond resides in Neshannock Township. And that Mrs. Lowhead resides in the borough of Wampum. the mailing addresses are sometimes misleading.
Right.
You know, you could read this and think, well,
Yes.
Mr. Blakeney lives in Elwood City. He doesn't. He lives in Wayne Township.
Mhm.
So if my colleagues are agreeable, I'd like to, when we get to this point, amend the resolution to note the specific municipality in which these people reside.
Well, yeah, we'll change it now so we don't have to go through a
Yes.
motion amendment process.
Correct.
Thank you.
Do you need me to redo the resolution?
I have the one you sent me.
Okay,
We'll add that.
thanks.
I think that's all you guys
That's
have.
all I have today.
Oh, wow, okay. Get out
Hopefully we'll
there.
get some more municipalities coming in, and then
Yes.
we'll be back next week with those ones as well, so.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, up next, we have resolution special public approval, transfer T-2020-008. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, authorization is hereby given to appropriate administrative officials to transfer. What we're doing here is we're transferring $10,000 from Commissioners contingency to Prothonotari's part-time staffing, that insufficient funds in that account, and so they need a little bit more money to get through the year. Any questions on that? Resolution 2020-240. Up next, we have resolution 2020-241. And this, the back sheet's a little screwy. What we're doing here is removing just the top one. You're looking at your packets, from jurors to materials and supplies and reports, $5,000. The second one, jurors to bank charges, that's just an administrative transfer, so that'll just be an up or down vote. And the reason is funds need to cover current expenses for court admin and MJD Russo.
So is this correct on the printed resolution, the front page that we're,
Wait, you know what? They're transferring money from jurors to Russo's bank charges, I think, not the court's bank charges, which would be a resolution.
the resolution
Yeah, the resolution.
does do it's specific to the bank charges.
Mm-hmm.
that's-
So it is correct, right?
Okay, then we had the
Then
5,000.
The top one is just an admin.
The top one's the
Yeah.
admin. See that? I messed it. I'm glad you caught me there.
Sorry.
I messed up I got the wrong one there. So thank you for catching me there, Dan. That's quite all right. 338. Good. All right. Next up, resolution. This is a resolution. Our elections department is incurring significant cost as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic relating to the receipt of mail-in ballots, relating to the processing of mail-in ballots and absentee ballots,
Right.
relating to the overtime costs associated with processing all of the required documents that they need to process. And so what we're doing here is we are transferring over a significant amount of money into the elections budget. That being said, this money is reimbursable through various grant programs. So the elections office was allotted, and I want to say May, about $81,000 in CARES Act funding and in HAVA funding. And any monies that we're not able to recoup through that, we can recoup through our CARES Act county
Yes.
grant funding. So here we have and all these are from Commissioner's contingency to the elections office. So Commissioner's contingency, $2,000 to staff overtime, $28,000 to wages of outside registrars, $56,000 to materials and supplies. And that, just for the record, is all of the different ballots, all of the different envelopes, all of the
The
different,
envelope.
the envelope, which is crucial.
I saw the new one.
Are you excited?
It's in the box out there.
You're excited?
How does it compare to the other one?
It's still in the box. I didn't want to interfere with its process. I just saw the box, that envelope.
We thought you would inaugurate it.
If it needs a test run,
There you go.
I will do it.
Actually, it's interesting. What they're doing this time around is they do the election stuff in this room, and
Yes,
they're gonna set up one envelope opener right there and the other envelope opener right there.
yes.
And so instead of having to go through all the first envelope once, and process this to be an assembly line. So the first envelope, open it up, pass
Yes,
it down, second envelope, open it up, it's gonna speed things up tremendously.
yes.
$2,000 from Commissioner Capicci to Staples, $21,000 to postage.
Yes.
$6,000 to contracted services, $2,000 to building rent, and $2,000 to equipment lease. I mean, a total amount of $119,000. And again, you know, you don't realize how expensive
Mhm.
running the elections are until you sit in this chair. I mean,
Yes.
it's actually amazing. And that's on
Yes.
top of all the money that was
Already.
spent through the state mandate last year to bring on board those new voting machines.
Yes.
So that's 242 unless there are any objections. Next up is $2,000 from Commissioner's contingency to prothonotary. Anticipated increase in costs due to COVID-19 expenditures. It's pretty self-explanatory there. We'll make that resolution. 243. Before we vote on this stack, I'd like to just go through very quickly and vote on the administrative transfers, if that's acceptable to both of you.
Sure.
So we have numerous different administrative transfers. We're getting to the point in the year where we are gonna have to be transferring money more frequently.
Mhm.
Just again, due to COVID-19, our budgets,
Right.
a little bit out of whack this year because we've had to purchase, a tremendous amount of materials and supplies. We've had to purchase Zoom accounts. We've had to purchase all these different things, as well as incorporate in layoffs,
Right.
incorporate in every 7 years, there's a 27th pay period. This just happened to be one of those years. So the budget is
Perfect storm.
perfect storm, but we're balancing it, we're weathering it out, and I'm sure we'll end in half decent shape. But we have administrative transfers, $3,000 from jurors to equipment maintenance, that's out of the court's budget, and that's to pay for power and data installation in courtroom 5.
You need a motion, you wanna do these as a group?
Just do one.
That's fine.
Right. Okay.
Prothonotary, again, this is moving in money into her part-time fund from her travel and training budget, obviously with COVID-19. All of our travel and training budgets, have been underutilized.
Right.
There's some excess funding, all of those. Jody's taken $5,000, put it into part-time.
Right.
Here, somebody typed it up. Public safety, insufficient funds for equipment maintenance and repairs. They've taken $400 from association dues, $800 from their uniforms budget, and $868.72 for office minor equipment, all going into equipment maintenance and repair. I think that's it.
Do you wanna then, were you anticipating including this juror, this 5,000 on, resolution 241? Were you splitting that out?
Yeah, I think we have to, right?
Okay.
So let's put that on the, this request for transfers. They're all coming out of the court's budget. Does that sound good, or do you want to do a separate?
No, I thought on 241 that we were gonna vote on the 3380
Yeah.
as a formal resolution, but if I heard you correctly, you wanted this line to be incorporated with this group that we're currently discussing. Am I right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so the motion, which we're ultimately gonna get to, would include that $5,000 transfer?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Well, and I guess, are we at that point?
I think we're at that point.
We're ready?
I think we're ready to go. I'm just jotting it down on this, and I'll hand it
Okay.
off to Vanessa and Chris to incorporate into the.
I'll move that the transfer requests that the chairman mentioned from the courts, the prothonotary, public safety, and court admin.
That was one of
No,
my
it's
favorites.
quite all right. And court admin of the 5,000.
Yes.
I move for approval of those requested transfers.
I'll second.
Motion is second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, now for our, it's not quite the whirlwind that we have when we did all the original budget transfers, but still quite a number of resolutions. So I'll take a
Right.
motion to amend the agenda to allow for voting on resolutions 2020-226 through 2020-243.
So moved.
Second.
There a motion, a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. We'll go through these as expediently as possible. Resolution 2020-226, now to be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, that authorization is given to Chairman Morgan Boyd to execute on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, letter of authorization and all related documents. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion, a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-227, now to be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, that authorization is hereby given to Chairman Morgan Boyd to execute on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, letter of authorization, all related documents. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Discussion, hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-228, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the agreement listed in item 2 shall be approved starting July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021, and authorization is hereby given to execute the following addendum. Clover Psychological Association is detailed in attachment. Description rates also listed within the attachment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-229, therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the agreement listed in item 2 shall be approved starting July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. Authorization is hereby given to execute the following addendum as it relates to GSX Apex Enterprises LLC. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-230, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that the agreement listed in item 2 shall be approved starting July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Authorization is hereby given to execute the following addendum. Lawrence County Association for Responsible Care. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Please, Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-231, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. The agreement listed in item 2 shall be approved starting July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Authorization is hereby given to execute the following addendum. Human Services Center. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion, second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-232. Now therefore be it resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that authorization is hereby given to execute, submit, and sign necessary grant modification through Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second. Hearing a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-233. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that that contract with DJ Hannon and Sons is extended from March 31, 2020 until September 30th, 2020 due to COVID-19 delays. A total of $56,955 in fiscal year 2016 Shenango CDBG dollars will be allocated to complete this project, and the chairman is authorized to execute all documents related to this contract. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-234, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. The contract with S. Watkins Excavating is extended from June 30th, 2020 until September 30th, 2020 due to COVID-19 delays. To amend Resolution 2020-055 to increase the amount of the original contract to $61,751.97 to include additional work. The chairman is authorized to execute all documents related to this contract. I will note again, this is for Shenango Township.
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-235, now to be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. The contract with Protect Asphalt is extended from April 30th, 2020 until September 30th, 2020 due to COVID-19 delays. The chairman is authorized to execute all documents related to this contract. I'll note this contract is for CDBG and Elwood City Borough. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-236, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. The existing contract with Youngblood Paving of Wampum, PA is extended from April 30th, 2020 to September 30th, 2020 due to COVID-19 delays. The chairman is authorized to execute all documents related to this contract. And again, I'll note this is for Elwood City Borough CDBG allocation that we administer. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Resolution 2020-237. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. The following shall be appointed to Lawrence County Planning Commission for the term listed. Laura Glenn, 1607 Cameron Avenue, Newcastle, PA, 16101, Union Township, be appointed as alternate to the Lawrence County Planning Commission with term to expire on December 31, 2024. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-238, now therefore be resolved by the Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the board approves the Coronavirus Relief Fund recipient agreement between the above-mentioned municipalities and Lawrence County. The above-mentioned municipalities being Bessemer Borough, Elport Borough, Elwood City Borough, Enid Valley Borough, Hickory Township, New Beaver Borough, Plain Grove Township, Union Township, Slippery Rock Township, Wampum Borough, Wayne Township, and Lansing Township. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have up next, Resolution 2020-239. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that the following shall be reappointed to the Lawrence County Planning Commission for the term listed. Everett Blakeney, 1495 Wurtenberg Road, Elwood City, PA, 16117 of Wayne Township. Be reappointed to the Lawrence County Planning Commission with a term to expire December 31, 2023. Dave Hammond, P.O. Box 5423, Newcastle, PA, 16105 in the Shannick Township to be reappointed to the Lawrence County Planning Commission with term to expire December 31, 2023. Caroline Walkhead, am I saying that right? Loudhead. P.O. Box 1. That's awesome.
Somebody's gotta have it, and she and John have it.
That's awesome. Wampum, PA, 16101 of Wampum Borough to be reappointed to the Lawrence County Planning Commission with term to expire December 31, 2023. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will say, I will be voting no on this resolution, although not due to the quality of people serving on the board. They're phenomenal people, and I'm sure they will continue to serve phenomenally on that board as they have in the past. During the campaign, I made a promise that I would not vote to reappoint anyone who served more than 2 terms. That being said, like I noted, they are phenomenal people. They've done phenomenal service, and my no vote is nothing against the quality of the people that I'm sure are about to be reappointed to that board. So that being said, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, Resolution 2020-240. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that authorization is hereby given to appropriate administrative officials to transfer a total of $10,000 described in detail on the attachment designated as T-2020-008, which is Prothonotary contingency, Prothonotary part-time. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion, questions on the motion? Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020 we're almost done. 241. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $3,380.83 described in detail on attachment designated as T-2020-009. And I will note that while the attachment includes jurors, materials, and supplies, that is being stricken from this specific resolution, so it was already done as an administrative transfer.
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-242. Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $119,000. Described in detail on the attachment designated as T-2020-010. This is relating to increased need for money out of the elections office. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And Resolution 2020-243, now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners authorization is hereby given to the appropriate administrative officials transfer a total of $2,000 described in detail on attachment designated T-2020-011. This is a monetary transfer for anticipated COVID-19 expenditures. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Hearing motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And that concludes today's resolution portion of the agenda.
Oh.
We have no ordinances on the table, nor for introduction, nor for final action. We do have a couple announcements, and let me know if I miss one, because I always miss one. Next regularly scheduled commissioners meeting is for 10 a.m. on Tuesday, September 1. I thought you were like, I had something wrong right out of the gate. Next commissioners meeting, Tuesday, September 1, 2020 at 10 a.m. In this room, which is the commissioners meeting room in Lawrence County Courthouse. There will be a Lawrence County Retirement Board meeting immediately following the meeting today. So what's going to happen is we'll close off the live stream, probably take a 10-minute recess and then come back for
Yes.
retirement board along with the treasurer, or the treasurer's representative and the controller's representative. And then we also have our authority meetings, which are the municipal authority, the redevelopment authority, and the land bank on August 26th, which I think is tomorrow, at 1 p.m. Missing anything?
I think you covered it.
First time for everything. Any additional public comments for today? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Hearing a motion, second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, questions on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lawrence County Board of Commissioners is adjourned.
Only Scott stayed with us to the bitter end.
Oh, what a
What a
Wow.
day, what a morning.
chance.
I think Morgan needs to do those commercials where they have all the disclaimers.
He's the one right
At the
there.
end of it.
You don't have a
Somebody
choice.
needs to see it.
You don't have a choice. You'll be here forever.
That's it. He's good.
Yeah.
You could do
Good to
that.
see you, Scott.